So I'm Italian and I like to talk with my hands a lot. A couple of years ago I had a left shoulder replacement and I was in one of those wraparound slings. I actually developed a speech impediment because I couldn't use my hands. I just stood there going, you know, people hear me talk and they know immediately I'm from New York. So I'm in Publix and this guy comes running up to me and he says, hey, do the New York Italian accent at me. Tell me, we want to go for coffee, you want to talk? I said, listen, Babu, I don't come to you and say, do a Bollywood dance for me, do I? You know you're Italian when you use the rubber bands from the Broccoli Rob as a wallet. And I mentioned to my nono, I said, hey, I need a new wallet. He opened up the drawer, he took out the rubber band, threw them on the table, he says, pick your color. So Italian women talk incessantly. I've grown up around 6 generations and they talk a mile a minute, always going, always going. It appears to me that they actually can breathe through their ears, which blows out of the water that whole argument of, I'm not sucking that because I can't breathe. You know, Italians have a patron saint for everything. If we lose something, we pray to St. Anthony. Even in the afterlife, we got a guy. So, you know, growing up in Brooklyn, the Italian neighborhoods and the Jewish neighborhoods are always adjacent. So you made a lot of friends with guys outside of your group. 2 of those guys for me were Ira and Heshi. And maternal guilt is something we both were exposed to. Both cultures are famous for it. But the biggest risk for me as an Italian kid was, you know, going to Sunday dinner and getting agita from the meatballs and the sauce. And the Nonas were especially, they used guilt almost as a weapon. If you missed a holiday, you went on Nona's dead to me list and you never got off. Jewish mothers, though, it's a whole nother level. You know, they'll guilt their sons into being doctors or lawyers, along with an entire lifetime of colitis. You know, Ira and Heshi would laugh. They would say to me, fuck, you're stressing over meatballs. I have to go to law school now. They at this point, I forget everything but the grudges. I call it Italian Alzheimer's. Italians don't forget, and Jews forgive. Italian kids spent the summer playing stickball. You know what stickball is, right? The rubber ball with a broom handle, and you play it, the same rules as baseball. So we spent the summer playing stickball, going down to the avenue, getting pizza, going to the Yankee games, jumping on the train and going. Italian kids, we learned how to calculate VIG on outstanding gambling debts because we thought that would be helpful. But Heshi went to yeshiva camp. Oi, more education for Heshi. We all went to this place called Baruch College in New York City to become accountants. My parents were overjoyed. Their parents were devastated. So we walk into the first accounting class, and out of 40 kids, there's only 6 of us that don't have yarmulkes on. Me and 5 girls. So I'm telling Heshi and Ira this, and they've always been very jealous of those, you know, nice sweatsuits that we would wear. Have the little Italian flag on it. They always wanted them. But being the good friends that they are, after that first accounting class, they presented me with my own monogrammed velvet yarmulke. I finally felt like one of the boys. So, and food was always very different. I mean, like, you know, Italians, we've got 40 different kinds of pork products, 20 different kinds of salami. My Jewish friends, all they got is corned beef, which they had to share with the Irish. They had brisket, which they had to share with rednecks, and now they live on a strip of land that they have to share with people who want to kill them. The boys would come over on the holidays, you know, and they would eat like they were going to the chair in the morning, and Nona would say, what's the matter? They no got a food at home? So, you know, they would join for Christmas Eve fish dinners, and they, you know, we would have fried calamari and fish salad, baked clams, all kinds of stuff, and they would get pissed off because there was no gefilte fish. You know, while we both have distinctive noses, you can always tell the difference. For instance, if we're in a restaurant, you know, the Italians are always very loud. We're pounding Chianti, and my buddy Ira is always complaining that there's not enough free bread. We age differently, Italian men and Jewish men. Italian men just get more ornery, and Jewish men just get more phlegmy. Happy Hanukkah. I have a question. What do those moils actually do with all the food, the foreskins? You know, the moils, the guy that does the circumcisions. So they got all these foreskins. I have a theory of what they do with them. I think it's how they make the baseball gum that shows up in the Topps baseball cards. Is that my time, Carson?
Yeah.
All right, that's my time. Thanks for being here. Nice hand for Carson. Nice hand for Rock and Barrel.